Um, Hi, Eduardo. How are you?
Hey, Rachel, here we are again for our wise
Here,
tips for our users.
wise tips. Yes, number 6, I think it is today. Thank you all for who can join us. We sure appreciate it. We'll try and make it a little quick. We know it's billing week and it's breeding season, so lovely combination right there. So hopefully we've got a few tips that might help you out through that. So let me go ahead and I'll bring up the screen. Here we go. So what I've got to kind of start y'all out with is something hopefully help you a little bit with this billing week. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the billing module. So mine has to do with the Unbilled procedures review. We know quite a few people like to print it out because they like to have a copy of it and pass it around to the text to the people in the office so that multiple people can review it, which is an awesome way of doing it. Great way to catch mistakes before they get billed and are on statements, and you have to add 50 clicks to get rid of that. But kind of something to go hand in hand with that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here. Is actually what we kind of recommend going hand in hand with this would be actually using the patient procedure summary. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. So once you've gotten the printed list, and go ahead and open that one up here. Once you've got the printed list and everyone's kind of reviewed it, really great way then to go and fix all of those, any edit you have to make on the on any patient procedures is through the patient procedure summary. You have a really nice list, obviously, of your active horses here that you can quickly search through the search bar and very quickly see all your unbilled procedures and edit them from here as you go through your paper list that you have corrected. So again, you've got like your task finder, you've got the ability to use your DCFs, your macros in case you need to add any large amounts of procedures.
That was a very good choice of yours to go today with the Unbilled Procedures Report. I try to, incentivize our users to go for the Unbilled Procedures Report every being as much as I can. It amazes me sometimes the number of clicks we can save just by printing out that report and fixing a bunch of things prior to creating invoices. It's so hard to fix, transactions on patient when you have the invoice already created. At least 3, if not 4 or 5 times more clicks you would have to go through to just fix something when you leave for, catching stuff after the invoice is being created. So please, guys, if you want to save your clicks on the billing day, Unbilled Procedures Report, like Rachel is saying here, in combination with the place to easily fix, this is the way to go. It might be a little bit hard in the first months, I believe, for you guys to get a hang of it, how it works, the Unbilled Procedures Report. But once you get that tool in your operation for the billing day, I bet that you will not let it go anymore. Well, my hint today is going to be going hand in hand with billing week as well. So I'd like to explore one thing that is pretty handy. It's about when you have particularly miscellaneous. This applies only to miscellaneous invoice. Outpatient, inpatient, dispensed, over the counter, herd invoices. All the hospital invoices are not the case for what I'm going to say today. But for the miscellaneous invoices, the ones that you create when you are in the patient file for billing procedures on the patient file. Imagine the situation where you have one invoice and for miscellaneous invoices, and you need to add an item to that invoice. You could simply open the invoice and in the invoice add a charge to the invoice. Sometimes the charge is already sitting there in the patient file, in the billing. So you have the option to attach and detach items to a miscellaneous invoice. It's pretty handy at the end of the month. If you create an invoice, you forget to put something over there. You just go to the one of the invoices, and right now Rachel is creating one invoice for us, and on the bottom you're going to have the option to attach and detach. So just let's create one invoice, Rachel, so we can give the guys an idea about what I'm talking about. So here we go. We are creating the invoice right now. And on the bottom, you're going to find the button that says attach and detach. So if you have the invoice, in other words, you can grab items that are sitting there in patient procedures and bring that item into the invoice. As well as if you say, no, I have one item that is in the invoice and I want to leave for charge next month, you can highlight that item in the invoice and detach. That item doesn't disappear. It simply goes back to the billing in the procedures and keeps sitting there until next month, when Wise Option will then catch it again and bill it over.
Yeah, great way to kind of help customize your invoices and really make sure that you've attached all your charges the way you'd like them to be at the end of the month. My next tip kind of goes kind of perfectly with that one as well. So I see a lot of times, especially kind of coming off that Unbilled procedures review, people find, maybe one or couple particular horses that have a couple procedures that they need to fix, whether it's a price or quantity isn't right. And what I see a lot of people doing is they'll go into the procedures here and they'll come in here and they'll edit each individual procedure. And that's a lot of clicks. It opens up a new window. It's time consuming. It's a little clunky. No one likes doing that. The easier way actually to do it would be to kind of, how you were saying, would be to go ahead and put those on an invoice. Go ahead to bill all of them. Because once you get to this invoice, it is really easy to just change the price, change the quantity just by clicking on here. Doesn't have to open up a new window, much faster. So you can just very easily edit what you need to and close the invoice. It's billed, it's done. You can move on to the next horse that you need to edit.
Oh, so many clicks saved over there. Just, opening a new screen, that consumes processor, consumes time, has to read it. And I usually, when I'm playing with the system, I just throw a bunch of items in the invoice and I adjust the items within the invoice. Is way so much easier. Yes, good tip. I like it. All right. So let me go for one now. This one is not related to billing in some sort. It's about pricing, but I'd like to go back to the main screen, if you would, for me, please. And on the main screen of the program, we can have an option for pricing and for estimates. People call and ask about price, especially if you have a practice or a mixed practice, and they want to ask about supplements or some shots or vaccinations, farm calls. What you can do is two things: the price check and the estimates. And the price check, it does look like an invoice. However, you don't need to put a patient, you don't need to put customer name. It's like a blank slate for you to add prices and check the prices instantly. The advantage of this, some practices might have differentiation in their price settings depending if it is an outpatient versus ambulatory, or if it is inpatient versus miscellaneous. So as Wise Option allows you to have different pricing depending on the type of service or invoice type or even profit center. You can have different tables and different prices. But the handy part about the price check is that you can create list of prices. So let's say that you create a list of ambulatory work and a different vaccinations or joint injections or services, castrations, whatever. You can then save that price check and create a template with those items. Therefore, you don't have to enter those items over and over and over every time you're going to, answer a phone call. What I would do, I would open a screen. I would leave one of the tabs open with the price check. If you are the person on the phone answering phone calls, with people asking about pricing on different items, and I would create different price lists. So you just toggle and you just change your price table right on the spot, or you could even open multiple tabs and keep different price checks open at the same time. So that's going to make the process of providing the price very easily. And Wise Option is going always to grab the latest. So if there is any adjustment in prices on the monthly basis, your next month price table will be automatically adjusted to the latest price. A difference with the estimates, on the other hand, estimates is when a customer comes, let's say, for a layman's exam, and you're going to provide an idea, or if it has a hernia or a rehab. It's mostly for, when you're going to create kind of a price estimate for that particular customer in that case. What Wise Option does in this case It doesn't need to be necessarily a patient that is in the system. It might be a patient, a prospect. So you can have the patient in the system or not. And it's going to ask you those initial questions so you can just provide phone number or something for you to use as reference later on if the customer comes back to actually perform the services. But it's going to then open again kind of a simulation of what an invoice is, where you can put your price, your adjustments, you can say the doctor, and you can enter all the details, comments, and everything. You can save that estimate. The difference on an estimate is that you can print a copy of that estimate to the customer. And guess what? Later on, if the customer comes back, you can say, okay, here's the estimate, is stored in the system. And if it is after 3, 4, 5, 6 months, it will compare the prices back then with the prices today. So you're going to then be able to have a handy tool to decide right on the spot if you should maintain and keep the deal that you made at that time, or if you're going to make an adjustment. So price check and estimates would be my tip number 2 for today.
Well, I like it. Some really good tips today. I hope everyone is having a happy billing week, and I hope everyone is staying safe out there. And we will see you soon.
See you next time.
Bye.